This is my favorite part of painting. So we're gonna spend the day together,
establishing the first layer on 2 oil paintings and finishing a painting I'd been working on for 6 months. I'll share with you how that foundational layer really sets you up for success throughout the painting, as well as how all 3 oil paintings turned out in the end. Let's do it. Starting the studio day with some sketching, and then I dove right into it. I always start by loading up my palette with the paints that I need. I find working on a large glass palette surface is extremely helpful for mixing my paints, establishing the general shapes and distinct areas of drawing to start. I work with large brushes, 1 inch or over, to bring in these large shapes of color. As this was rendering a window, I really wanted to bring in some grounded structure into the piece. As I paint the sides of the canvas, this is a wooden panel, I always make sure to do that as I go. As you can see here, I'm really just starting to establish larger shapes of color. I always start extremely dark and then pull up to light.
Hello, we are getting a fun warm-up in. I'm just laying down the groundwork, getting the prominent shapes of color in, and I'll end up leaving this to fully cure before I probably work on it again. Maybe I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I never can predict, but just plot where things are headed. So I would consider this my warm-up. I think I'm gonna pause and make some tea.
Before I stop for the day on this piece, I wanted to fully saturate the entire ground with a thick layer of paint. This would give me the chance to wait for it to cure at least partially before I reactivated the space and continued painting. On full painting days like this, where I'm working 8 hours or more, I really like watching other painters behind the scenes. I particularly love this David Hockney documentary. Now on to the painting, Learning to Rest.
I would be very excited if I finished this painting today. That would be incredible. I don't know if it's possible, but I would love to give it a go. So essentially, the biggest things that I need to do:
refining the drawing, bumping up those color contrasts to the deeper darks and lighter lights was the primary focus in this stage of the painting. After working for about 110 hours on this painting, I was able to finally really go in and refine all those details.
I added some highlights to the pillow, and then I've been going through and adding more light. I work really, really dark. I like to establish depth and darkness for a very long time and then pull up to light. This is a pretty detailed painting. We've got a full-blown figure. When teaching at the college, my students are always upset with how much fabric I will bring into their work. I'm like, all right, more fabric, more fabric. And they're like, when am I gonna need to do this? Like, why do I need to do this? Well, fibers are around us all the time. If you want to paint the figure, they're maybe wearing clothes. Painting inside of a home, there maybe are curtains or is a pillow. Being able to tackle every single type of material is so essential if you would like to render things realistically. What I personally love rendering fabric, so I wanted to make this really challenging for myself, kind of level up with my fabric painting skills. So there's a really strong light source, and so there's this gradation from this pink into deeper, darker reds, but there's also a highly detailed pattern on it. Perspective changes and things happening within the pattern. Because it's a patchwork quilt, there's so many different patterns and colors and textures. So I've been having a blast working on this painting, but I am at the point where I'm like, okay. It's been like, I think 100 hours. That's not counting the building on the stretcher bar, making the paint, and stretching and gessoing it.
If you'd like access to a comprehensive guide to gessoing and stretching, as well as a printable mini guide, head to my Patreon and watch this video.
So something I need to add that's so small and so slight, but is really important to me. See these? I want to add in all of these little red ties. How she made it into a quilt without a quilting machine. This is the technique I'm going to be using on my quilt. There's like this really big distinction between how shiny it is here and how matte it is here. One, I need to do a little bit of painting. I want to add kind of a matte sheen to this so then it kind of flows with the rest of the figure. That's my plan, and I'm excited. And I've got my dirty chai. If you'd like the recipe, you can head to my Patreon. It's a free recipe. It's right here.
What caffeine is to the daily work of knitting ourselves back together after the fraying of
The larger the painting is, the more often I'm gonna have to move it. So to get to the topmost portion where the grass is, I needed to lower the painting. Even at a later stage of the painting, I love to bust out a larger brush. This brush is a little over 1 inch, and it just helps me to really stay loose and work with my body and my arm rather than getting really fussy. So establishing some more light and pulling in some darker darks, activating the fabric. This is where I'm really pushing that contrast throughout the whole piece, refining any last drawn elements.
I changed a lot of this morning to make sure that it was trailing up here. And then I deepened and I darkened this area and kind of like pushed things down. I predominantly have been adjusting this section. The figure isn't necessarily the subject to me. The fabric is the subject to me.
However, as anyone that has ever looked at a painting with a strangely rendered figure or face, it's so essential to get this part feeling really settled and believable and correct, or else it'll feel quite unnatural. A huge part of our brains recognizes faces, and so it's really hard as for painters because we have to really do a good job with the figure and the face. So I spent a lot of time on that in this painting.
I think this is what's messing with me. So this is like pretty dramatic of a jump. I think I need to darken this and then add more light here. For the green, black and yellow. And we'll see how this performs. And then we've got this Havana ochre that I made. It's an orange. Okay, let's see how this does. I'm gonna build it up slowly. So I went ahead and added a lot more. This really helped activate this entire area. I think this might be done, which is very exciting. I would love to make a video on going through all of my tips on creating large work. There are very specific approaches that you need to, at least for me, when I'm approaching a really large work. I would say something is large if it's larger than me on any side. If you're interested in that, let me know. So this is from an image that was taken of me when I was like 9. And I don't normally do self-portraits and I don't normally do figure, but I needed the figure to enter the body of work, and so much of what this series is about. This just felt really important to me to make. I'll just take this off and then I'll start this guy. Yay!
Let's get started with Unseen Tales 2. Wait, I forgot something. Oh yeah, the reference photo. Like many other artists who enjoy depicting natural forms, I work in combination from highly detailed observation made from sketches in plein air. And then because I want to make a larger piece, I end up bringing these observations back through sketches and photographs. And through the combination of those two, I like to render my images.
So I'm working with my earth pigments, and this is particularly helpful as I am painting the earth.
In contrast to how I started future views, I really tried to focus primarily in the beginning on getting the line work established.
I love this stump. It is right near the house. We have about 1.5 acres of land, but there is basically like a forest right next to us. It's a dream come true. I mean, all my art is. So much of my work is centered on thinking about the forest. Excuse you. When we go on a walk, we'll go and see the stump. We'll take a little visit. That's what I try to do. So when I made Unseen Tales, it was also off a stump. This is not my first stump painting. I like to visit my subject as often as possible in any context, whether it's a stump or not. There's no pressure, just really laying down some groundwork, nothing too crazy. This is my favorite part of painting, is the first layer. So I feel very lucky that I got to start 2 paintings today. Pretty fun. I can't really talk while I'm painting. I'm very focused.
I really believe that that first foundational layer is going to set you up energetically for the rest of the piece. If you start timid and scared and tentative, you'll feel that later. I try to be as fluid and as joyful and as excited as possible in the beginning, and I think it really carries through to the end of the piece.
Okay, so I just wanted to get a little bit of this started.
At the end of a day of painting, I try to put everything back. So add things back to my little paint cart, put my sketchbooks back, other projects that I have going on, and trying to clear the space so then the energy is great for the next day.
Pause. All right, that looks a lot better. Kind of wrangling things a little bit. I am not somebody that can like function in chaotic spaces because my brain's already chaotic. So I'm trying to make my environment not distracting so I can stay focused.
As promised, I'm going to show you how several pieces turned out. This is learning to rest.
I'm so happy. If you would like to see how I made this painting from the beginning, let me know. I am considering doing a video of it because it was such a fun process. I'm also making a full quilt in response to this piece. They're in tandem. I'd love to make videos for both of those.
This is how Unseen Tales turned out. As well as future views.
Hello, Deanna from the present moment. Hope you enjoyed seeing the start of 2 oil paintings and the completion of a 3rd. I'm excited to share that I have just completed 10 pieces. You can head to my website if you'd like to see all the pieces that I am featuring in my winter shop update.
I also have a collection of larger works available here as well. If you would like to be part of a growing, cozy art community, you can head to my Patreon. I share tons of additional resources, including an extra exclusive video each month.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks so much for your excitement and support.
And now I'll see you later.
Oh my God, the light is crazy. I guess I'll stick my head on it. It looks like an eclipse. Okay. It's just the heater is turning on and it's like an old man getting up. It's like, ooh. Or to be fair, me getting up, so no judgment. No jibber jabbering. I need to finish this painting desperately for my own well-being.
Hello.